internal investigation by New Orleans police backed how their officers handled an April 2023 crash involving former White House advisor Cedric Richmond.
Without testing the former congressman for DWI, officers blamed the impact of the crash for a slurred speech at the scene. But Katie and our partners at the Times-Picayune asked policing experts to review the report.
All of them but one said there are big holes in the NOPD's internal investigation.
New Orleans 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Before police even got to the scene, it was clear who was involved in the crash.
We on the Avenue and Clip-on. Please get an ambulance over here. Cedric Richmond just had an accident. Please get a...
Former White House advisor Cedric Richmond plowed his late model Mercedes into a tree head-on along Claiborne Avenue. Police records say both the former congressman and his 8-year-old son were hurt. Richmond seriously.
This is a high-profile person in this accident.
Footage from the body camera worn by investigating officer Mark Miranda that night was released to us last year. Large sections were edited out by city attorneys who said it contained private health information. But they did release audio of the officer's interview with Richmond in the back of a New Orleans EMS ambulance.
I want you to grab his ID out of his pocket.
Mr. Cedric?
Yes.
Is it in your pocket?
I have no idea.
You have no ID on you?
I said I have no idea what you're talking about. There's probably one in there and they can grab it.
He was disoriented and his speech was slurred. Officer Miranda noted it in his accident report, but did not test Richmond for impairment. The NOPD launched an internal investigation through its Public Integrity Bureau into whether officers handled the crash properly. We asked these 4 experts to review that nearly 40-page PIB report on their findings.
You were a police officer for a long time. You see a single vehicle crash like this head-on into a tree. You don't know what caused it. What are the first questions that you ask the driver?
Have you been drinking? What made you lose control of your vehicle? How did this happen? Simple, basic questions, Police 101.
Where you're coming from and where you're going.
It appears from the reports that those questions were not asked. A spokesperson for the NOPD said shortly after the accident last year, Miranda did not have the reasonable suspicion to even ask Richmond if he had been drinking. Quote, Officer Miranda stated in his report that he did not detect an odor of alcoholic beverage emanating from the driver during his investigation. Therefore, there was no reasonable suspicion of intoxication nor probable cause to inquire about possible alcohol consumption. Rudosity says it's absurd not to ask the question.
If the police report indicated that there was a serious injury, I think you're far closer to requiring a blood draw than you are away from it.
The crash report did, and now the PIB report says paramedic Ryan Satterberg told Officer Miranda he thought Richmond was drunk at the scene. But Miranda told investigators that the attending physician who treated Richmond at the hospital did not smell alcohol on him either. The report reads, quote, Officer Miranda mentioned to the physician he didn't smell alcohol on the driver. The physician stated he did not smell any alcohol on the driver.
That question is a pointed question where you're almost looking for an answer that you want.
But that denial was enough support for Miranda's conclusion that there was no need to test Richmond for DWI to gain the backing of the PIB investigator and the NOPD's top brass. Just 10 days on the job, Chief Ann Kirkpatrick's approval is signed by Deputy Chief Keith Sanchez. But 3 of our 4 experts said the PIB report contains some big holes.
This is a 40-page report. Is it complete?
Not in my opinion, simply because they never interviewed the 2 EMS personnel that were on the scene.
2 months after the crash, 2 of the paramedics at the scene that night left their employment at New Orleans EMS, both under investigation for unrelated reasons. The Richmond PIB report says internal investigators emailed them for follow-up interviews, but a New Orleans EMS supervisor referred the NOPD to a city attorney instead of connecting the investigator to the paramedics. A 3rd paramedic who treated Richmond in the ambulance was never contacted, and neither was Richmond's attending physician.
It's a cloud, it's a question mark. It's unfair to the congressman, I'll be honest with you. I would not want to be in that position.
You'd want a definitive answer.
I want a definitive. If I'm not drinking, I want it out there.
DUI expert and author of DUIs Decoded, Bill Palareños, was the only expert of 4 who said he felt that the PIB investigation was thorough and complete. Former NOPD Chief Ronald Surpass told us it raises some of the main concerns of the federal consent decree that the department is trying to get itself out from under, including whether the NOPD can adequately police itself.
Internal investigators only sustained 1 complaint against Miranda because he failed to document and name and contact information of a witness who was at the scene that his body camera captured him talking to. The NOPD would not answer additional questions on the report, saying Miranda is still awaiting a hearing on the PIB investigation 10 months after the chief initially signed off on that report. Our partners at the Times-Picayune have been asking for this report for nearly a year now, and we just received it.
Well,